Hi friends, welcome back to the Homespun Annie channel. So this vlog is starting out in the flower section of Hobby Lobby, and I don't go to Spokane a ton, which is where our closest Hobby Lobby is, but I found myself in Spokane this week, and so I decided to stop in at Hobby Lobby. And I wanted to find some flowers that I could put on my kitchen windowsill. And I wanted to make sure that they looked as real as possible. So I just spent some time going through the flowers there at Hobby Lobby. And they did have some dried real flowers, but I wasn't very impressed, and the cost was way too much. So I would love to have homegrown real flowers to pick, and hopefully I will at some point. I just don't have them currently. So, and of course buying fresh flowers from the store, that can get pretty pricey too. So I did end up settling on lavender because the lavender there looked very real, and I also love lavender. So I would say that lavender is actually my favorite color. Not purple, but lavender. It's a very specific color of purple that is my favorite color. So, and I picked up 3 bunches of those, and then I went to the candle section, and I love the little shorter, thicker candlesticks. I just like them way more than the tall, skinny ones, and so I bought a couple of those to also go on my kitchen windowsill. And here you can see what I did. I put the lavender in an antique English ironstone pitcher that I had, and of course the candle, and I also bought that candle holder. It's cast iron at Hobby Lobby, and I put out these 3 little bunnies. Just seemed appropriate since we're coming up on Easter and it's springtime. So here is my kitchen windowsill overlooking the river. And then I have been letting the chickens out a lot more and just letting them run around and find whatever little things they can to eat. There's not much green, but it's coming, and there's little bits here and there, and so it's just fun. I love letting them out and just seeing them running around in the yard. And you can see the orange extension cord there, and that was for their heat lamp that we used all winter for them. And I went ahead and put that away because we don't need it anymore. And in the background of this clip, off in the distance, I guess, you can see Hoodoo Mountain, and it still has quite a bit of snow on it. And the local rule of thumb is that you don't plant your garden until all of the snow has melted off of Hoodoo Mountain. So there's still quite a bit there, but I'm still going to get ready and set up my little greenhouse and start my seedlings under a grow light inside and get ready for when it's time to get the garden going. And here is a view of the river. And since I took this video, we've had a bit more rain, and snow up high, it's starting to melt a little bit, and so the river's gone up a little bit, and it will probably go up quite a bit more by the time spring is over. And like last year, we had quite a bit of flooding. So this recipe here that I'm making is for Royal English scones, and supposedly this was the Queen's favorite scone recipe, and I have made them once before, and it's a very easy recipe, and they are so good. And so I decided to make some more. My son absolutely loves them and has been asking me to make them again for quite a while. So one of the things that's different is you use softened butter instead of cold butter, which usually when you make a pastry or scones, you use, really cold butter and cut that into the dry ingredients. But this recipe calls for room temperature or softened butter, so that's what I did. I may try to make them sometime with the cold butter like I usually would, and see if there's a difference just in the texture. And then of course you still cut the butter in until you have kind of pea-sized bits in with the dry ingredients. But yeah, I'm really curious to see. That's something I kind of want to experiment with and see about using actual really cold butter. And this little pastry cutter is actually, it's another little antique that I found at an antique store. And I've been using it for a while, and it's been working beautifully. I love finding antiques that you can still use. I don't like having antiques that just sit there collecting dust. I like to find things that you can actually still find useful. And this is one of those things that I found. So there, I've got it the right consistency, and it calls for some milk and an egg. And here you'll see I should have beat the egg up in a separate container, and I ended up making a mess trying to beat it up with the milk in that little measuring cup. But I figured it out, and it worked out eventually. So here, of course, is mixing the wet and the dry ingredients, which is one of my favorite things about baking. And then, of course, I poured it out onto the cutting board to work it together with my hands. And this is one of those things where it feels like it's not going to come together, but then eventually it does. And this is just another part of the process of baking that I love. And there you can see it all came together, and I rolled it out so it's a little bit thinner. Until they were the right thickness. And this rolling pin I've actually had, oh man, it's probably close to 20 years old now. And so I used a 2-inch round cutter. And I wish I had one of those ones that had like the scalloped edges. But this is what I have. Eventually I'll get one of those little scalloped edge ones so they look a little bit more authentic. And you're not really supposed to, but I did, after I cut out this little bunch, I did bring the dough together again and I cut out a few more. Usually you don't want to do that because the dough is a little bit tougher, but I did anyway just because I felt like I was wasting a ton of dough. And those ones turned out fine, so. There's just something about a simple scone that is just so delightful. And of course, there's nothing better than having it with a cup of afternoon tea. And having your tea in a very pretty teacup. I just think having those little moments and pulling out a nice, pretty teacup, those are just, just delightful little moments that you can make in your day. And I try to do it often, but I don't do it nearly as much as I'd like to. And so with these scones, I actually took them over to my parents' house to share with my mom and my aunt. And here I am making an easy clotted cream. So this isn't a true genuine clotted cream, but real clotted cream, takes about 12 hours in the oven, and I just did not have the time for that. So this is just an easy one where you take a little bit of cream cheese and sugar and whipped cream, or heavy whipping cream, and you whip it together until it's about this consistency. And there you have a quick and easy clotted cream for your Royal English scones. And I just put it in a jar. It was very good, but someday I really do want to try and make genuine, real clotted cream in the oven. So, and everyone really enjoyed it. So here they are, and I could have done an egg wash on the top to make him a little bit shiny, but I didn't. So friends, I really hope that you enjoyed this little video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel and share with anybody else you think would enjoy it. And I will talk to you in the next video.